Namaste. Last session of political science lesson, we have learned how democracy is better than non-democracies, how democracy is more responsive and more accountable to the people, how it is a legitimate government, that we have learned. And now we are learning accommodation of social diversity. Accommodation of social diversity, that topic is very important. This topic the CBSE has asked several times this question. How the question comes? Either accommodation of social diversity, otherwise they can ask how the government can form or how a society can lead to a harmonious and peaceful society or harmonious and peaceful life, or accommodate various, how we can accommodate various social divisions, accommodation of various social divisions, and how we can have a mechanism to negotiate the differences. Differences, of course there are differences, so how it can be a mechanism to negotiate social differences. And another way also, all these things what I say is that it is written in the first two paragraphs. And ability to handle social differences, ability to handle social differences or social groups or social diversity, it is a plus point in democracy. So go through the textbook lines, two paragraphs, all major sentences or majority of the sentences, we can see that this will come as a question. Like that. So don't expect only this question, accommodation social diversity. All these are the other possible questions we can expect in the question paper. And here we can see there are two important points to understand how we can accommodate social diversity. That way, that is the end of that paragraph it is written. So what is the first point? First point, it says that democracy is not a simple rule by majority opinion. Democracy is not simple rule by majority opinion. It should go along with it should work along with the minority. Why? The government can function to represent the general view. That means both the majority and minority should be taken into account while a democratic form of government is formed. So first point, when a democratic form of government is formed, the government should keep in mind that democracy is not a simple rule by majority opinion. Majority needs to work with the minority, and government functions to represent general view. General view, both majority and minority we have to take into account, and we have to see the majority opinion. And what is another important point? Majority and minority opinions are not permanent. What the majority says one time may not be the longer run. Then the long run it may not be permanent. That means majority and minority opinions may change. They are flexible, so they are not permanent. That is the first point. Then the second point, we can see that rule by majority does not become rule by majority community. Rule by majority should not become rule by majority community in terms of religion, caste, linguistic groups, etc. That means we cannot change that. So, when the government is formed, rule by majority does not become majority community in terms of religion, race, linguistic groups, etc. What is it meant by? That we can see that rule by majority in case of every decision. Rule by majority in case of every decision, in case of every election, different opinions can be formed, or different persons can form different groups and can form majority. So, rule by majority in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and different groups can be formed. One time one group may be formed and they may be a majority, but we can see the next another minority will be there. So one group we can see there is a majority group we can see this is a majority group, and we can see a small minority group, and here we can see in case of every decision or every election, a different persons may be grouping and having a majority and can form a majority. But what happens? It is not permanent. Why? Democracy remains democracy as long as every citizen has a chance of being a majority at some point of time. That means that when first point we said it is not permanent, the same way another majority can be formed in another time. In that another time you can see another majority may be formed where majority may be this way. These people will come and form another majority. So here we can see that this is always, we can't say that this is the majority. This can change, or the people of this people can, some of the people may be moving and forming a majority here. So once more, rule by majority in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons or different groups. Different persons of different groups can form a majority. First case I given this dark color or the black color formed a majority, black color just a color, and another time you know that this red color is representing a majority. That means different groups are forming the majority. One time one group may be having majority, another time another group may be having majority. I will tell you another best example for you, that is in a class when we take into account whether second languages Malayalam or Sanskrit, Hindi, which group has been more children are there. Suppose a majority we got. Next time you can say when we take into account the guitar or other music or drama group, you know that another majority may be formed. So you know that one case one majority may be formed, but in another case another majority may be formed. Some students may be grouping in another form, once they may be a minority, but in another case they will form a majority. That means majority and minority are not permanent. That point is more true in this case. Every decision or every election, different persons and different groups may form majority. And so what we should do? Democracy remains democracy as long as every citizen is getting a chance of being in majority. That is, I told you, once they were in minority, so they've kept as minority and they are majority. Now you know that they are also coming to this group and forming a majority. Along with these people, you know that they are forming a majority. So every citizen is getting a chance of forming a majority group. So this majority will decide what should be taken into account. And so on the basis of birth, if it is barred, that is, if it is barred on the basis of birth, we can say that the democratic principle ceases to be accommodating. Means that it should not be based on race or religion or linguistic group. It should be based on some other criteria should be taken into account, maybe the political party, maybe the ideology or something else. Then you know that majority may be more accommodative to the democratic form of government. So we have learned there may be differences, there may be divisions, and different people may be forming the majority one time another group may be forming the majority. All the majority groups should get a right to rule or to form the government, including majority opinion as well as minority opinion should be taken into account. So nobody will feel that they are discriminated, they are oppressed group, they are suppressed group like that. So we can accommodate and have a harmonious, peaceful or accommodating social divisions or mechanism to negotiate social differences or ability to handle social differences. These are some plus points regarding the democracy. I hope you understood what is meant by accommodation of social diversity.